The audience is meant to see you.
I love theatre here because it's like, it's play.
Okay, before I get to that,
This one gives me PTSD, so just bear with me, everyone.
It's like, I think it's a 12-step system on how to get into character.
So what does that actually say about your personality, Anesu? Are you a backstabber?
no.
Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, hi guys.
Hello.
Why say hello like that? Actually, guys, like, what is your pet peeve when it comes to like watching movies?
Pet peeve.
My friends aren't gonna like this, but I don't like it when people are speaking while we're watching. Like, just watch.
You just want to watch
Yeah.
at a speaker.
Oh.
I'm the speaker. I'm the speaker. Like, I might know what is happening, and I'm like, did that just like, I need you to explain every word. But like, even when like you're watching a film, do you ever see something in the film where you're just like, come on?
Like you predicted?
No, like for example, like continuity for me is a huge thing. Like if you like, I used to be addicted to like reality TV, right? And then Love and what? Not Love Island. I can never stoop that low. Love it. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Oh, and like when
Just lower.
yeah. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And then this man came in with the scene and his hat was like on the one side, and then the next scene his hat was on the other side, and I'm like, this cast has changed like 6 times, but it's the same sentences. Do you like ever have things like that?
I think that's it. Like when a glass, like from one angle, it's like full, and then the angle changes, and then it's the same angle, and it's like, ooh. It's just.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I love Love Island, so
You love Love Island? That's
I enjoy it.
crazy.
Even though I know reality TV is scripted
Yeah.
in some way, but I enjoy it. I enjoy watching, the different scenarios that you can encounter. How people, stab each other in the back and all that.
Yeah, backstabbing is crazy. So what does that actually say about your personality, Anesu? Are you a backstabber?
No.
Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is people can be very interesting. Just like how characters in film can be very interesting. Drama is like film, but reality. Sort of.
Even though what you said wasn't that, but
I see.
So, say this.
so we're gonna jump into it. Obviously, being in this environment, St. John's, you guys are actors. How did you get started?
You wanna start?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. I actually didn't start.
You finished.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is, from a young age, I was more into dance than acting and stage drama because my parents are dancers. So that's how. So from a young age, I grew up seeing them dance, and it sort of just picked it up and became something I enjoyed doing. Right. It was only when I got into secondary school, right, that I was introduced to drama societies, drama clubs, and I was like, I'm actually quite interested in seeing what it's all about. So I joined in, and I realized I had an interest in improv. So that's like the thing I started with, improv. Go on the stage, and the director would just throw in a word, and you just pick it up from there. Right? And it's fascinating me. I enjoyed doing it, and I thought maybe acting, film could something I could do in the future. So that's how I started.
You said improv. Can you like do a quick improv? I just need to test what you're saying is true.
A quick improv.
Just a quick one.
Okay, so there was something, a game we played where you just say things. So for example, I woke up this morning and I realized the fish was not in the boat because I was just walking down the street and I realized, wait, those fried chips are not speaking English, because when they start speaking French, I come to realize, okay, coffee is not good for your health, because why? The fish in the boat was sinking,
That's so real.
basically. so you just kind of you keep saying things until you don't stop.
What does the fish have to do with the coffee?
I
No,
mean,
like it's a metaphor for life.
metaphor.
Wow.
I like that one. I enjoy it. Yeah.
Zindu, how did you start?
How did I start? Funnily enough, it was also in high school. Um, it was actually in primary school when I had watched, my brother was a part of a production when he was in high school, and I watched him perform, and I watched him even after talk about how freeing it was to be on stage. And he was also a dancer, so he's been like a performer through and through. And he kind of inspired me in a way. And then when I got to high school, it was kind of like a goal that I wanted to get involved in the drama society. And so I did. I did a bunch of plays. I started in grade 9, I think. There were like a bunch of plays festivals internally, and then there were also external competitions that the school would compete in. That was mostly theater, and I've always loved theater. It'll always be my first love. But when I moved here, I wanted to kind of focus on breaking into the film industry. I fell in love with South African theater because there's just like a kind of soul to it that you really can't get anywhere else. And I love theater here because it's like it's play, but film for me that's what I'm kind of like speeding towards. That's the goal.
You just made my heart
Oh.
That was
pulse.
touching,
It
yeah.
was so touching. Just had to.
It was heartfelt.
Oh, fun fact. Oh my gosh, Southern Africans, crazy. Who would have known? Because like she's from, where are you from again?
I'm from Swaziland, but I grew up in South Africa.
Swaziland is crazy, guys. No, I always make a joke. No, I always make a joke with her because like Swaziland is like a mini country in between a bigger country, and it's like you have to like jump to get to Swaziland. You have to like jump to get it, and I was like, I've never actually met anyone from Swaziland who has gone out of Swaziland. So
Country is
so-
a country.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I have plenty, but they're also my family.
yeah, you talked about South African theater, and like you also being from the south of Africa. Did that affect the way you do film and the way that you portray characters when it is time to act? Does that inspire you in any way?
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't know. No. I just wanted to ask the question again. I was just trying to process it.
Like
little bit.
from being from where you're from and obviously living in a new environment, does that inspire you when it comes to how you portray characters that you
Okay.
that you play?
Yes, in a way. A lot of the techniques, I studied drama like as a subject. It was one of my subjects in high school. In a lot of ways, yes, because it is like we studied Stanislavski and realism.
So who's the who?
Stanislavski, he's a theater practitioner. So he had like a bunch of steps.
Like nurse practitioner, except a theater practitioner. No, okay. Talk.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
carry on.
So he has like, I think it's a 12-step system on how to get into character. And I find myself still using those steps whenever I'm like having a hard time getting into a role or a character.
Okay. So obviously, like we're black. I don't know if anyone's noticed. And we live in St. John's. What is it like to be a black actor in St. John's?
Black actor in St. John's.
Yeah, or black creative.
It's hard to say for me because I can't say I have experienced the film industry to its entirety to have a significant response or to have anything to say about that rather. But I think it's more so your talent, or how well you execute your talent, than of course in some areas you might find yourself in situations where you may be you may feel as if the color of your skin may be playing a part, but I genuinely think that it's more so, do you have the talent or you don't? Yeah, from my perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nandu, what do you think?
Um, I have been fortunate enough to be surrounded by a lot of people who like have my back in that regard. I haven't experienced like blatant racism because a lot of the times like it doesn't even really compute in my brain. I just don't understand it. So whenever I experience it, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is just this is just a thing that's happening. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by a lot of people who are very supportive
Yeah.
in helping me like figure out how to self-tape, figure out even like putting my name, like saying my name in rooms where they need like an actor or someone to fill out a role. I've been very fortunate with that. I have heard a lot of, I wouldn't say horror stories, but just like very, you know,
Not great.
that's interesting.
Yeah, what type of stories?
I've heard a lot of those. A lot of it has been like production, like trying to write for film, trying to direct for film, like trying to produce a film. But for me personally, I don't want to say I haven't experienced like any racism, but I've just been fortunate. Yeah, I think I lucked out.
And like you talked about how like people have had your back, which is so important to have a community,
Yeah.
especially like coming from somewhere else and then trying to build a home using friends that now become family, whether outside or inside the industry. Are there any role models that live here that that you know that have your back and that has helped you in your journey?
Definitely. Yeah. For me, it's the CMFI, I know, is creatives. Um, our director Yejide, I mean, she's my mentor, and she has supported me in every way. I mean, she has even put sometimes if she comes here, I don't even have faith in myself, to portray a certain character, but then she believes in me and she pushes me, to just give it a go and see how much I can actually do there. And after I'm done, I look back, I'm like, wow, if Yejide was not in my life, maybe I might not have, covered ground in certain areas pertaining to stage dramas, pertaining to theater, pertaining to film. And also, I'm also excited that, Occupy All Spaces is also giving me opportunities, like it's always good to have people who are open to give you a chance, and to give you a platform where you can showcase what you can actually do. Not only showcasing what you can do, right, but also, challenging yourself, that's how the only way we can grow is if we are, in areas where we are challenged, to embark on a journey outside of yourself. Yeah.
Inspiration.
Inspirations. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
In terms of, I've had a lot of people around me. Namely like Occupy Spaces, for sure. It's for, can I mention fairies? It's out now. Yeah. Mainly, I think like the huge turning point for me was last year, the Black Creatives Camp.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Because like here's this community of people who actually want to do this and are doing this. And we're all just like here supporting each other. We're all just built, and it was such a vibe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really.
I enjoyed it.
It was so much fun.
No, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And like I remember I was like running around and I walked in and I was like, why are there so many black people here? What's going on? And like it really just like struck how like people really want to be in this industry. It's just like the how
Yeah.
and the doing it and the guidance to be in this industry. But what impact did you said that that was a really great vibe, and so what impact did that have on you as well?
Fairies was my first ever short film, right? And before then, never done any film production. It was mostly dance, theater, stage drama, right? So the Black Creatives Boot Camp sort of introduced me to the nuances of film. I didn't know that. Okay, I thought, okay, if you are, if you are into stage drama, you can transition smoothly into film. But then I didn't realize that there are certain skills, right? You pick up when you're doing film that you may not necessarily pick up when you're doing theater. Like for example, in theater, okay, it's more so your projection, the voice. You can even exaggerate your movements and all that. It's fine because that's theater. You're meant to the audience is meant to see you. But in film, you can even have more intimate moments where it's more so not what you're saying, but just your facial expression, maybe some size and all that, because you've got the mics and all that. But in stage drama, you don't have that. You always have to be projecting. So sometimes in your projection, the emotion may get lost, but in film is a totally different act. And it made me realize that, okay, when it comes to film, it's a more intimate, it's a more intimate journey from my perspective, that I have to sort of, like, the smallest detail can really determine whether you're gonna pull off a certain scene or not, unlike in theater or stage drama, where the audience can be far away. They may not necessarily see your facial expression, like in film. So it introduced me to those tiny details that you need to keep at the top of your head. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like with the camp, it was just really interesting to have so many, not only black people, but also like other people of color. And it was just like the ideal set that I would like to see, because oftentimes I walk onto a set and I'm just like, well, just me. This is gonna be fun. Well, like this is one set Nyonya and I were on. I was like, oh, what you doing here? Okay. It's like, oh, surprise. And so when it's like more than one of us, it's like, oh, So are there any times when, I guess and for you even in theater, you're in an environment where you're the only black person there, and sometimes it feels like, and not even black person, like sometimes an immigrant there, and you feel like you have to change yourself to fit into the environment, to maybe even feel like you're acceptable? Are there times that you've had like that? Or are you just like the super confident human being that like...
I'm trying. There have been a few times, but I think it looks differently for different people. For me, it's not necessarily changing myself. It's more of just like I'm more reserved in the beginning, and then when I feel that I'm comfortable enough to not bring like my full self out there, but like, a piece of myself, enough of myself out there to not, to not completely feel isolated.
Yeah.
Then I do. But if not, then I'm just like alone around set the whole time.
And is that something like when you go, before you get on set, is that something that you already know it's going to happen, or do you just kind of see how it goes?
It's kind of automatic. It's automatic because like whenever I'm in a new environment in general, I'm not as open as I would be if I was comfortable from the get-go.
And what does comfortability look like though?
Yeah.
Just like being in an area where I feel like I'm not being judged for being myself, or like if someone creates an environment where like I can be comfortably myself without overthinking it and being like, oh, should I change the way that I say this, or change the way that I react to this, or whatever.
And for you, Anesu, do you find, I know like you mentioned the creatives,
Yeah.
and that is an environment that has everyone of color and things like that mostly. What is your experience when the group goes outside and like performs?
Um, okay, before I get to that, I just want to recall an experience I had. So I'm from Zimbabwe, but I did some of my education in South Africa, right? And I went to some drama society that I wanted to be a part of. I think I was around what, grade 7, 6, right? So in South Africa, there's, during that time there's a big issue with xenophobia and all that, right? So
There's always it.
yeah, so I decided to audition for a certain role, right? But because I was Zimbabwean, right? Most people would either not talk to me. Like the moment I just enter the room, it's oh, immigrant, immigrant that, immigrant this, and um, that sort of put me in a shell, right, for some time, and it was really hard to move out of it because it was as if wherever I went, I don't know, but
It's like replaying in your
like
head a little bit.
no matter how much I'll try to fit in, even to the extent that like I learned the language, but for some reason I was never good enough. I was still an immigrant each and every single time, and in situations like that, especially when it's such a young age, it just makes you, it really brings you down. It discourages you, and I think at some point I even thought about just leaving the entire my entire dream of one day being a film star. And usually when a few, I would say a few people actually find themselves in situations where they'll have enough strength to actually pull out of that. I'm grateful that I had parents, I had siblings who supported me in those situations, because I was my siblings at the school. So even if no matter how many insults I'd get from the session, I would always go back to my family, to my and I would always get that reassurance that there'll always be trouble, there'll always be challenges. But then if you find yourself in situations where you're not gonna pick yourself up, then maybe you're not meant to do it. Like if you're meant to do something, even if someone tries to bring you down, you should still have the courage to get up and chase after your dream.
Yeah. So all three of us grew up in South Africa, and I think
Yeah.
like not being from there kind of carries an extra layer of toughness.
Yeah.
Because if anyone knows you, because like even like growing up, it's like you're not white enough to be white, but you're not black enough or South African enough to be South African, but you're not wherever you're from enough to be like, I'm not Nigerian enough to be Nigerian for the Nigerians, right? So I was being in that like limbo. And for me, when I then came here, obviously not being Canadian and trying to find who I am, it really kind of affected the way I did my art or even responded to people. Like you said, like I was a bit reserved or overconfident. There's like it's not in between. It's two extremes.
Two extremes.
But like what, obviously having that background and when things happen now, what keeps you going and what makes you carry on fighting for your art?
Oh. um. Oof. It's so hard to forget, but I think for me, it's thinking about the lives that you touch while you're creating. Um, I was speaking to someone, I think it was last week, and she mentioned this phrase like passion project. And I hadn't thought about it that way, like, because it's like it's acting, Sometimes I downplay what I do. um, But it is a passion project because it is important work. Like you're telling a story, and not even from the lens of the person who's going to receive what you do, but also you're a physical embodiment of the director, the person who wrote the piece. It's just, I think it's a sacred thing that you hold. And I think just thinking about how that touches both the creator and the person who's receiving the art is enough of motivation for me, I think.
Oh. Wow, Nandu. I love that. So for me, it boils down to I don't want to die with my stories. I want to die knowing, okay, some of my stories, okay, I might not be able to, give out all my stories, but some of my stories need to, go out there, because there might be someone who's experiencing the same thing I'm going through, and my story could encourage them, could help them make a different decision than the one they could have made, And there's one statement I grew up always, saying it time and time again. It's aspire to inspire before you expire, right? So that's has kept me going, Just you gotta dare to be different. We have to dare to be different. We have to do our best to make sure that, okay, whatever multiverse of stories you have within your experience, within you, right? Some of them need to, chat someone. Some of them need to, get out there and, give the audience a different perspective to certain things. Yeah.
The Nigerian in me thought you were gonna say aspire to inspire to perspire. That's not where I was
That's
like,
not where we're
I was
going.
like, that doesn't seem deep. I don't know if he knows what that is. But I'm glad that it was that.
Yeah.
And so I guess like looking back, like do you sometimes think of how far you've come, or are you just like, yeah, I'm just starting?
Definitely starting. But I mean, definitely starting. Because the concept of total immersion, right, is still a big thing to me, and I believe that is one aspect that determines that differentiates a good actor from a remarkable actor. Total immersion, the ability to lose oneself to become someone else entirely, right? And I still think only a few actors in the real world, can actually do that. I mean, maybe it's a spectrum, the degree to which you can embody a certain character, and I believe there's always more to acquire in that spectrum. And I still think I'm at the beginning. Because essentially what actors are doing is the character created by the producers, by the writers, right? Take myself, for example. I've lived on this earth for 24 years. I've had 24 years to portray my character. But what actors are doing is they are crunching that character down into maybe an hour, 1 hour 30, right? As opposed to, imagine if you could find yourself in a universe where that character had the opportunity to actually live 24 years as well and act in that film. It would be more impactful, right? Because they've had more, like the character had more time to grow, to evolve. But then as actors, we're only given maybe an hour, or sometimes even, short films like 30 minutes to embody the entirety of that character, right? So there's a lot left out, and there's a lot to actually acquire from that. So I believe, there's always room to grow. Yeah. Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you talked about a few challenges that you've heard of, right? What are the challenges that you've had specifically to being a Black creative that lives here, that wants to be an actor here in St. John's? I know that before I started doing all the other stuff, like I was acting, and I found it really hard to get roles that fit me, and roles that were, I guess, particular to me, and it kind of made me feel like they weren't thinking about me when they were writing, or they weren't even thinking of me as an option when they were writing. Have you guys experienced any challenges like that when it comes to being an actor in St. John's?
I think it's exactly like you said. Like, it feels a lot of the pieces and a lot of the shows and movies, I think, here, don't really have people like us in mind, or people that even look like us. A big part of it for me as well, starting out, and I think that I don't know. I think I still am, but I'm not sure. Starting out is just finding the casting calls, like having accessibility to all of these casting calls. I haven't been on Facebook once in my life until I moved here. And now to have all of these casting calls be in select groups on Facebook, it feels like, who are you calling? Who are you calling?
Because it's not me.
It's not me. It's not me. I literally only have Facebook because people only operate on Messenger here.
Yeah.
There's that. And then I think that's mostly it for me, for me personally, because I'm an actor. But in terms of producing movies, I don't think there's a lot of, like, again, accessibility to people who are immigrants. And it's tricky because that's a lot of the people who's wants to be telling stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I agree with Nandu in that immigrants may have a lot of barriers to entry, but also because maybe maybe it's my eyes, but sometimes or usually I find out that I find that a lot of the roles that are put out very rarely is a person of color in portraying a character that is like that's got oomph, like heartfelt story, like it's usually sometimes it may be just they just put it out to to check the inclusivity box, like it's not really something I want to like, something that will give you like, okay, this person, this story is compelling, which is what I want. I want to portray compelling, characters that have got a rich story, and most of those I usually don't find them. So that that may be an issue that I have.
So would you say that it's on a lot of writers here to write more inclusive stories, or would you say that it's up to us as immigrants and as Black people to write our own stories and make sure that we include our own community, or is it both?
I think it's a bit of both. I don't think the onus should be fully on us. I think that, because for me personally, this is not going to sound very nice, but there's some people who just don't want to build an entire production company from the ground. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I literally I just want to act, and having now to have this responsibility of building something from the ground up in order for me to act is it's Frank, it's too much work. It's too much. That's not what I want. It's not what I want. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's very important to have people of color, to have people of different experiences and walks of life in your writers' rooms or in your production crew rooms. I think it's important to do that. And then also for the people that do want to build their companies from the ground up, have those mentors for those people, because it's not linear. It's hard, and they need to know where to start, and they need to know that there's going to be points where you want to give up, but you shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with her, definitely. I think, yeah, we need to just create avenues where we can introduce more people of color who want to, share their stories. Because right now in our society, right, a lot of the stories, right, were written by people, who are not of, of color, right, and they have been published already. And I believe in sticking to the source material. I wouldn't want to tarnish the source material. It might not. Okay, for example, imagine if like all of a sudden they were to say, okay, we're gonna put in a like what a black Batman. Like that would make sense, okay, because Batman was created as a white individual, and you don't want to tarnish the source material because someone actually put a lot of work to create that story, right? So I just believe that uh, we shouldn't just try to, replace, but just include more people, or create avenues for more people of color to share their stories.
That's actually one of my pet peeves. Like I can't stand it
stand
when
remakes.
movies now do remakes and do like a diversity like
Thank
for
you.
the sake of diversity. That
you.
really like
Yes.
upset. Like the Captain America thing, don't cancel me. But like, bruh, just say that you just use the man as another character. It's like now like Black Panther, the man Dems is gone. Now you're gonna put a white person as Black Panther. Like, how does that even make sense? Just,
Leave the source material as it is.
like make stories that include us or don't make them at all, man.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a segment called Being Black on Set, but we're gonna play the Never Have I Ever version. Okay, so be completely honest. Okay, never have I ever been late to a set or practice. Guys, black timing. We all know. Don't even lie.
I haven't, and here's why.
No,
I am trying to get better. I'm trying to break
But
stereotypes.
wait.
I already can't swim. Okay? I can't bear it all. I can't
You
bear it all.
know, you've been late to something that I've done. So how have you not?
Prove it. Which one?
I have the text messages. What are you saying? Not you lying to the masses.
Oh, well, that I was blow drying my hair. You asked me to.
Yeah.
Have you, Anesu?
Well, for me, I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'll be there in 30 minutes
Yo, guys.
or an hour. Usually, when I saw someone, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm probably
Switching off your TV
maybe
and then
all the way in Africa, and I getting there. Yeah.
I think
I'm usually late. I'm late most of the time.
okay, well, going forward, we're gonna detach from lateness. Because how are they gonna hire us if we're always late, guys?
That's real. That's a good
Tease.
That's where improv comes in, So for me, you just gotta, try to come up with something. Oh, sorry, my fish was stuck in my dryer. Had to take it out a little bit.
Never have I ever had my hair toyed with by a colleague, cast, or crew on set.
Wait, does that include children on set?
Yeah, anybody.
Oh, okay. So, funny story. There was a day when I didn't comb my hair, so my hair was like all curled up, right? So this little kid just comes in. Oh, you got ants in your hair. I'm like, no, they're not ants. It's just
Not the ant.
yeah. So they kind of look like they were, but yeah, it was funny because it was like I think like the kid was like almost I don't know 5, 6. I don't like he was very young, but very cute kid. I'll never forget that moment. I laughed.
It's not cute enough for you to say I have ants in my hair.
It's a kid. It's a kid.
Guys, this thing where we like to say, oh, they're kids. No, I'm squaring up regardless. Have you had that experience?
I think so. Probably. Probably. I don't really remember because I think it was like early on, like my first set. But yes, I think I had braids even.
Guys,
I don't know. It's like something.
you know it happened, but you don't know when it happened. Never have I ever been asked if I know every black creative in St. John's.
I haven't.
Wow, must be nice.
Wait. But then, like, I do. So does that count? Like if someone asks me if I know you, then I'm like, yeah. And then I
No,
don't-
but like, why are you assuming that I know all the black people?
Oh.
Like, I don't know them.
Is it specifically on set or?
No, it can be
outside?
like offset as well.
Oh, okay. Because I mean, definitely, when I came here, and when I tell someone, I'm from Zimbabwe, or I'm from Africa, then it's like, oh, do you know Joseph? Like, oh, Joseph, I think, oh no, I think he said he's from Nigeria or something like that. Like, how am I supposed, like, well, you're both from Africa, right?
Those are
I'm
my
like, okay.
favorites.
Usually, like, the person thought Africa was like one country. Like,
Yay.
everyone knows each other. So it was really, really interesting that, okay, wait, there's so many Josephs I know, but Joseph from Nigeria, how am I supposed to know? So yeah, it's always interesting. Yeah, it was.
This one gives me PTSD, so just bear with me. I'm twitching a little bit. Never have I ever had hair and makeup not know what to do with me. I clearly have, so
I haven't. Again, I've been very fortunate.
must be so nice.
I've been very fortunate. Wow. This is what I meant when I was like, I've been really lucky.
Wow.
I haven't.
No, my first, I think it was like my second film, was like short film. I came on set. I was like, wow, I'm ready to be taken care of. Then this man just looks at me and he's like, what's this? He literally looked at me and he was like, I don't know what to do here. And then he whispers to the makeup artist, and I knew the makeup artist beforehand, so I knew that she was great. And then he's like whispering to this makeup artist, and then they're whispering to each other, and he just hairsprays me and then keeps it moving. And yeah,
Wow.
So sorry.
I'm sorry. I was sorry for myself too. Because now I try. Back then, I didn't know what edges were. I didn't know what anything was. I just put my hair in a ponytail and kept it moving. And what did I do? I put my hair in a ponytail and I kept it moving. And then the next day he was like, I'm so sorry, they don't teach us that in hair school. And I just didn't see it coming. And I was like, you didn't see it coming. You don't work with black people?
Just outed yourself, brother.
Never have I ever felt excluded from general conversation.
I may play a part in that as well. I mean, I kind of exclude people when I speak in my language, and people always look at me like, bro, can you speak English a little bit? But yeah, I have definitely been in that situation. So the high school I went to was an international school, right? And we had a lot of Francophone people. I mean, they're always the first to complain about, hey, speak English, speak English, speak English. But then when they begin to parler their French, I mean, I don't contest. I just, and it's like every time they're about to talk about something intimate, they revert to French, and I'm like, well, okay. But when I do the same, it's an issue. So that was always the case in the drama school I was in. Yeah.
Never have I ever been lost or puzzled by set phrases or set terms.
Sorry.
Never have I ever been lost by set terms, like when they go rolling or, back in 5, or what are other phrases that they use on set?
First position.
Yeah, like first position.
Apple. I need an apple box.
Yeah,
You're
stuff like that.
When you go into the bathroom?
10-1.
Yeah, 10-1, that one. Yeah.
What's your 20? Sorry, why am I? I'm not in the podcast.
And Jess is even looking like I don't even know what none of this is.
I mean, I'm always fascinated by speeding. Like
I still don't know
what
that
part is
means.
speeding. I still don't know. I still don't get how it was created.
Speeding?
Like speeding. Why speeding?
I don't. Well, Harvey's there. He's our sound guy. So afterwards, he can do a whole lecture for what speeding is. But I'm not gonna go through it today. Never have I ever worked as a crew member as opposed to cast.
I have.
What crew position did you?
I was set PA, excuse me, for last year for Only the Night Knows, by Blue Pinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you prefer on screen or off screen?
On screen.
Yeah, she said, take care of me. She said,
I like
take
to
care
be
of me.
baby, please.
Said, take care of me. This life is not hard life. I can't do it, man.
No, man, no.
Never have I ever eaten something on set that I did not like.
Oh yeah. Pumpkin pie.
Nice.
First time, last time. Never gonna eat that again.
Don't get it. I don't get it.
I actually didn't even know pumpkin was a pie until I came here.
I don't get it.
Even though it was 6 years ago, I can still taste it. Yeah.
I know.
That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Does it inform how you live your daily life? You see pumpkin pie, you run, and then you see olives, and you're God.
Once fall hits, you're just like, ah.
You get goosebumps.
So, oh, okay. Well, thank you for playing that game with me. I appreciate it. Let's do a few personal reflections. Like, if you could start again, what resources or advice would you tell your younger self to have taken now that you know what you know and will know what you know in the future?
Wow. Wow, a word.
Word. Chop, chop, non-do.
Oh.
Chop.
Oh.
Ladies
Oh, chivalry is not bad.
Oh, it's just on its last breath. I would tell her just to be a little more patient. I think, I don't know if this is like with you or like anyone else in the room, but I tend to, whenever I like have like a goal that I want it now, and I want it immediately, and I don't care how. And that opens myself up to like a lot of work that isn't of the quality or caliber that I know I'm capable of. So just a little more patience. Like, wait, girl, it's okay.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely more patience. But from my experience, I would just say, I'll tell myself to not be too hard. Not like don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of actors have that challenge. They're a bit too hard on themselves. Maybe they didn't say a certain phrase the way they wanted to say it. But then after the whole act, people come and congratulate them. Oh, you did a great job. But then in your head, they're like, nah, I didn't do so well. People are just, lying to my face. I didn't. So be like, don't be too hard on yourself. When someone says you did a good job, just take it.
And give
Take it.
yourself flowers.
Yeah, and give yourself flowers.
Like,
Take it.
Carrie, when I came in, Carrie was like, you've had a crazy year. And I was like, have I? And then I was like, yeah, I have. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Because me a year ago would be burning sage and lighting candles
Not the
for the
sage.
stuff that I've done this year. Like, just take a minute to sit down and just pat yourself on the back and give yourself your flowers and be where your feet are.
Yeah. Because the skill gap, I believe the skill gap is very, 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 very big. So don't be too hard on yourself. And especially in situations where one thing I've come to realize is that a lot of actors don't give themselves enough credit. You're putting yourself. Let's say you have a play, you have a drama to do, right? But then let's say, for example, you get a call a few minutes before the drama starts saying your mom is in hospital, right? And you just do have to lock in, right? And portray like there's so much going on in your mind. There's a lot of things you have to remember. There are a lot of a lot that's going on, and what a lot of actors fail to do is realize that okay, there's a lot going on, but I was still able to do this to this extent. Just cut yourself some slack. Yeah.
That's
It's okay.
great advice. Yeah, I've learned so much from this conversation, and I just want to say thank you for being open, thank you for being vulnerable, thank you for being in the space as actors and as creatives that are just doing it, whether you think you're just starting out, but I think it's so important that you guys are here, that you're taking up space, that you're occupying space. See what I did
Roll
there?
credits.
And yeah, and one more thing before we go. The executive producer of this episode was Joseph Chinaka, and he did such a great job with this. And shout out to Celebrate NL for sponsoring us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to celebrate diversity in Newfoundland and Labrador. We will see you guys next episode. Yeah.